Really excited for tonight's call. We're going to keep it short, sharp, brief, half an hour. We respect everybody's time. But we have an amazing opportunity to chat with Ben Southall, the winner of the best job in the world, like wow, and now the Adventrepreneur out of the Office of the Chief Entrepreneur. Really looking forward to hearing about tonight our latest mission up to far north Queensland, up into our neck of the woods, up here in Cairns. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring Ben up and we'll get into tonight's proceedings. Hey, Ben. How you doing, mate? We got you on mute. Let's see if we can fix that. There we go. Unmute. Gotcha.
Perfect. I'm here loud and clear.
Awesome, man. Thanks for
glad we wore matching blue tops tonight.
Dialing in. Yeah, well, blue's my favorite color, I guess. We got the space blue. How about you?
This was the best job in the world, blue as well. So it seems to be a theme and a brand that I now carry around everywhere with me. So good to see we got a good audience as well for this one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. There's a great bunch of people on the call. So we'll open it up to Q&A in about 20 minutes or so. But let's get into it. So can you start by telling us a little bit about the Venture program and how it came about?
Yeah, absolutely. So rewind 18 months and I'm sitting having a beer with the first Australian or Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, Mark Selby, sitting down in the Gold Coast, and we're talking about the resilience of the entrepreneur and how much you need to have as an individual, the strength and mental capacity to get through the tough times in business. I think as entrepreneurs and as startups, we certainly suffer from it a lot, from late nights and disassociation with our friends and family because we're busy plugging away at a business that sometimes seems to be going nowhere. And the idea is that if you build up that mindset of strength and you can get through those tough times, you usually come to the other side and your business is better off. You've developed it, you've got it to a place where it's a lot healthier. And the idea is that the adventures that I have gone and done and people go and do in the great outdoors are about building the capacity to get through those moments. So physical adventure is the engine that I employ year in, year out now to go and do these amazing adventures in the great outdoors. And every time I come back from it, I feel like I'm a little bit more equipped to go and take on a challenge that's even more tough and harder to do. And take that mindset, that adventurous mindset from the great outdoors and these adventures, whether it's in the mountains like in the picture, whether it's on a kayak on the Great Barrier Reef, or whether it's running through the outback. All of these experiences really sort of equip me with the skills to go and say, I can take on a challenge. I know that when I get to the tough times, I can go through it. And it's just building that mindset. So that's where the concept of the Venture program came from. That opened the opportunity for me to go and work with Advanced Queensland as their adventurer in residence. And ever since I've started that, which was, I suppose, at March, April time last year, we've now rolled out 3 of these programs. And we've taken nearly 60 people out into the wilderness, disconnected from their mobile phones, got them networking in a way that really hasn't been done before, certainly by a government organisation. And this is the 4th one of these that's now coming to fruition. And we are back in the Sunshine State. So I'm based down in Currumbin at the moment, right on the border of New South Wales. And we are going to be heading up to just north of where you are normally based, up in Cairns, to the community of Widgil.
Wow, awesome, man. I totally can relate to what you're saying about the disconnection from friends, family, peers, and you're just at the grindstone hustling, trying to get somewhere, and it's really taxing. And I guess excited to go on this adventure with you, Ben, in a few weeks, a month, however long it is. But proving to yourself that you can do something physically and mentally, and then coming to the other side of that, you're going to come back changed, like a changed person, right?
Absolutely. And I think that the people that we go and do this with, so from all of the people that we've taken so far on this, we've only ever had 2 people who knew each other prior to going on the trip. What it does develop then is if you go through these tough experiences together, you arrive as 15, 20 individuals, and you go home as a group of very well connected members of a new cohort, and going through those tough times together, you learn that teamwork is a really important part of getting through these physical adventures, much as it is in the world of the entrepreneur as well. You can't just battle your head against or smash your head against the wall and keep chipping away and getting nowhere. You've got to pull on the strengths of other people to help you through those moments. And this is what this Venture program does, is it really opens doorways and connections to new people that you never knew before from across the state. They could be in your own town, they could be from the opposite end of the state, but we've found that the people that have come on on these adventures now, and we have catch-ups, not only in Southeast Queensland, we do have catch-ups online as well. We have the people get together usually about every 6 weeks, every 2 months, just to check in, just to see how everyone's getting on. There's a bit of accountability brought into these programs as well. So if you go through the tough times on these programs, and you also do this mentoring workshop that we do, you start to try and plan out what the tough times are that you're having in your business. And with the people around you, you start to break those down till you realize there is a solution, there is a chance to get through this, and you put the building blocks in place to get through those problems. The accountability part comes post-program. So we like to say that when you've done 7 days on the Venture program, that's the start of the next bit of the adventure, which is going out there into the world, getting on with the things that were causing you problems, and then reporting back to the people you've been there with, just to check in, just to make sure you're getting on okay, that you're not, going back into your blinkered world of chipping away and battling your head against the wall. This is about really making sure that you deliver on those promises that you made to yourself and to everyone else.
Yeah, wow. And from what you're saying, there's that level of vulnerability, like needing to, almost break down, but reach out and ask for help from your peers around you. Like that's powerful in itself.
It is. This is not designed as a therapy session. This is not about going there and having everybody singing Kumbaya around a campfire. This is very much more about just, if you want to talk about stuff, we're there to talk about it. It's not just about, opening up in a massive group session. We like to break people off into much smaller groups to go and talk to each other about what they're going through. To sit there by yourself, the power of the journal and the moments that we've had on all of these venture programs is one of the most the poignant bits that people look back on, where they walk away from the group and they go and find a quiet space, and there's no notifications coming through their phone. There's no one else talking to them. It's just a chance for them to go and reflect on what they've done that day, how they've got themselves through it, how that maybe aligns with some of the problems they're going through in their own world or in their personal life, in their business, whatever it is, and to sit down and go, okay, I can break this down now into little small manageable chunks and start to digest the issues that are going on, the things that are happening, and become stronger and better because of it. So by the end of, it's usually a sort of time scale, day one is everyone's a little bit twitchy because they don't know what they're expecting. And day two, they start to disconnect from their phones and they start to realize that there are other things going on around them, not just in their hands. Day 3 and 4 and 5, really the valuable ones, because that's where the network starts. That's where the people get to know each other really, really well. And by the time we get to day 6 and day 7, people really don't want to go back to technology because they're loving the space, they're loving the distance from it. And so when we sort of try and ease people back into their normal lives on the last day with a big wow experience, and we like to keep that one under wraps until the very last moment.
Yeah, cool. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Diane and James and Shatara jumped on the call. Welcome, guys.
Hey, guys.
So I'm getting a vibe like who the program's for, but could you be very specific? Like who is the program designed for?
So this whole program has been designed really for anyone that's involved in the startup community of Queensland. This is what we're trying to hit. This is not going across the border to New South Wales. This is not trying to better Australia. This is trying to make the strength of the Queensland ecosystem a lot better and more resilient. So we have had, let's take a case study of who we've had. We've had venture capitalists, 3 of those that have come on board so far. We've had some scholarship winners from universities. We've had people that have really in the very early days of their business, so the very entrepreneurial stage of their businesses, and people that have been in and had 3 or 4 businesses and successfully exited from them. We've had a couple of representatives from government that have come along to it, and there's 3 or 4 members, we've got about 2 on this one actually, that are coming through from the corporate world who have always liked the idea of being an entrepreneur. Maybe they've got this little buzz of something they've wanted to do, but they don't know how to take the next step. So it's a real depth and breadth of what Queensland offers. And I don't think there's a fixed formula on who comes. We like to think that it's people, I mean, like I said at the start, people that are not just adventurous in their business, but adventurous in what they like to take on as well, because there are some tough physical challenges that we go and do. We like to push people to the point, not to necessarily to breaking point, but the point where they realize that they hadn't done this sort of thing before. They hadn't gone to this level to do it. When they come out the other side, they feel there's a big weight been lifted off their shoulders. They're more confident. They're more connected to the people they've gone through the emotions with. And then at the end of every day, we like to sit everyone down. There's no rehydrated food on this one like we did in the last one. You can sit down, you can enjoy a damn good meal after a day of physical activity. And this is probably the first, so to break it down a little bit, we've got 7 days to play with here. The first 3.5 days of this trip are going to be quite physical in a way, with good rewards in all the locations we're staying in. And then the last 2 to 3 days are really getting involved in the community up in Woodville. We've got an amazing team up there who put on a whole program of different things that are taking us away from the norm of what you expect in everyday life. We're going out there and we're doing some really interesting challenges that we'll do as 2 different groups out there. And then by the time we come to the end of it, we've got one of our guests coming in from Shark Tank, Naomi Simpson, is coming in to join us on the Saturday afternoon, which is going to be amazing. She's going to spend most of the day with us there, stay overnight, and then we go off and do this big celebration on the Sunday together. So really interesting people that we're going to have along to tell their story as well, to break down where they've got to in their business, why they've been successful, some of the problems they've had, how they got things started. So we got this whole depth and breadth of personality that's coming into it, and everybody has the chance to tell their own story at some point if they feel they want to, and if not, they could just sit back and listen to other people and, do it in the quiet moments.
Yeah, wow. I was fortunate enough to go to one of the alumni events in Brisbane, and the camaraderie amongst the people that have been on this is just phenomenal. Like they're connected at a whole nother level. So I'm excited. I love the breakdown from the real physical to the potential excitement of something mysterious towards the end. I kind of was thinking maybe it was Bear Grylls, when the night comes, you got to drink your own urine kind of thing. But it's not like that, though. No,
so we try and adopt. We put the 3 Bs into each of these programs. There's a little bit of Bear Grylls, a little bit of Richard Branson, a little bit of James Bond. We tried to add another couple of Bs into that now. So we have a bit of Red Bull and a bit of my own injection of Ben Southall. So we try and tailor all of these programs uniquely to the environment we're going to. The first one that we did was, everyone now calls it the Luxury Adventurer because it was done in the Whitsunday Islands, and we had really lovely food when we were there, and it wasn't that tough a challenge. But as this program has developed and evolved, we've sort of added more and more adventure to it. We've added definitely a lot more in the terms of the mentoring and the workshop side of things, which gives the people involved a lot of take out at the end of this. It's not just about people going out into the wilderness to network. It's about developing the individual's mindset and the strength of those people to go out there and do better in their everyday lives. So we've really got a nice balance now of what goes on with it.
Yeah, awesome, man. So this is next one, mission of 4. So you said this is the 4. So the first one, Whitsundays, was the luxury one. Apparently, they got it really easy. And then there was Tasmania, and then New Zealand, and now final of Queensland. What can you tell us? Like, what can you give away about this next mission? So you did give us a bit of a rundown of Woodville. Is there anything else that anybody on the call might, if they're on the sort of edge of like, hey, should I do it or should I not do this? What would you say to them?
So day 1 is going to be an interesting day as well. We're not going straight into the adventure activities. It's a bit of a familiar, get to know each other, a bit of an icebreaker. We're actually heading up into Cairns. We're going to find one of the spaces up there to talk to a very interesting individual who's been extremely successful in the enterprises he got involved in. So Andy Ridley is now the CEO of the Citizens of the Great Barrier Reef Project, which is obviously housed up there in Cairns. He was the founder of Earth Hour. So something that was just an idea, a flash in the pan idea, that's now become this annual global success that's really sort of focused on the idea of climate change and what's going on around the planet. And to take a small idea like that and turn it into something as successful as this is going to be really interesting for us all to have the ability to listen to Andrew's story and then to sit down and ask a few questions about that. So that really kicks it all off. And then we get picked up by the team that are looking after us for the next 3 days, and we head off into, I think, I'd call it a bit of wilderness. It's probably a bit of familiar ground for some of the people from up in tropical North Queensland. We're heading up towards Weatherby Station, which is a beautiful, beautiful area. And some of the views and the experiences that we're going to have that night are going to be incredible up there as well. And then we start the tough stuff from there, because there is a famous track which everybody pretty much knows called the Bloomfield Track, which heads up from Cairns, goes up to Woodville through the edge of the Daintree. It is, I imagine at this time of year, it's pretty dry and dusty up there, to be honest with you. But normally this is one of those seasonal roads that has the rivers going across it. We're not going along that easy track. We've decided to go inland a little bit to a road that's only opened up for about 4 months of the year. The council decided to open the Creb Track. And the guys that took us, that are taking us up that, actually went and did it 2 days ago and said it is one of the toughest things they've ever done. And they're coming from a fairly strong community of mountain bikers. Now, however we get to the end of this, we are going to get to the end of this. It's not necessarily about being the fittest person of the lot, because we have ways and means of getting people there that aren't, as physically able as they might want to be for an experience like this. I don't ride a bike. I rode a bike once about 6 weeks ago to get my car from being serviced back to my house, and it was about 20 or 30K and I was bushwhacked by the end of it. So I'm not the fittest on a bike, but we're going to go there and we're going to give these things a go. And we've got means and methods of getting people to the end of the day if they don't feel like they're the fittest person in the group. So it is about giving it a go. It is about pushing yourself through these ones, but it's not all about being on a mountain bike. There are plenty of other physical challenges to do along the way too. Yeah,
cool. I remember hearing something on the stories at one of the events that I've been to of yours leading up to this. So just quickly before I ask this question, if anyone's got any questions, please put them in the Q&A. We'll open up to Q&A in about 5 minutes. But like what specifically, like, is there any case studies of people that have had transformations that you can sort of share with the group? Like people that have just gone like, whoa, I'm sort of different now. Like, can you share some stories, case studies?
We've got 2 or 3 people who I like to think are my great examples of what the Venture program can do for people and what it does do. We've got a girl that works down here on the Gold Coast with an organisation called Pet Wellness Centres. Her name is Kathy May, or she's now Kathy Uren. She's married to Baden from Bonn University, who's one of the great entrepreneur coaches down there. But Kathy was very much one of those entrepreneurs who was so immersed in her business every single hour of the day that she didn't have time to get a normal life, and so she was at boiling point the entire time. And she now talks about her before venture estate and her after venture estate. So that was the defining moment for her, where she realized she was someone with an extremely short fuse at work who could blow very, very quickly, and taking the time out based on Baden's recommendation. He came on the first program, she came on the second one. Based on his recommendation, Kathy came along and realized that she needed to diffuse herself a little bit. And she took time with the group to sit down and work out what her stress points were, how she could get involved in it, how she could basically outsource some of the stuff that she was doing so she wasn't totally overloaded with it. So she's a really good case study of how we've taken someone who's almost at breaking point with their business and made themselves a lot better because of it. And the other person who came on the last meeting, on the last venture program, is a guy called Lachlan Young. And he came to the program and he sort of told me on all his forms about his previous history and what he'd done and everything else. And he said, look, Ben, I'm the sort of person who hates physical exercise. I've got an inhaler. I usually have to use it when I walk up, 200 meters of slope. But I don't want to have to get my inhaler out once on this trip. I want you to make sure you're looking after me, but you're pushing me really hard, even when I'm swearing at you. And so I was curious about this guy, Lockie, because he'd probably admit it himself, he's a little bit overweight, and he didn't really want to come and do the physical side of things. But Lockie went and did every single challenge that we set him in New Zealand. We had him pack rafting down a river on the first day, and it was this beautiful downhill current, and he just went with the flow. And he turned around to me at one point and said, God, I love this. If every day is like this, it's going to be a wonderful trip. He didn't realize the next day we had about 20 kilometers to paddle across a flat, calm lake with no current whatsoever. And by the time he got to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he was coming to the shore, absolutely shattered. And he got out of his pack raft, and he was in his wetsuit, and he turned around and he said, is that it? Are we done? Are we camping here? And I turned around and said, see that peak over my right shoulder? That's called the monument. We're going up that. And he turned around and he did that to me. And I've got a great photo of him saying basically F off. I don't want to be involved. And I sat down, and he had a bit of a hissy fit, and I sat down with him and said, Lockie, you're going to do this. You told me you wanted to push yourself through this. And he charged off into the bush, and I thought, oh, we've lost him. He's gone. He's not coming back. And he started the trek by himself, and he headed off before everybody else. And he was about the second or third person to make it to the top. He had his wetsuit rolled down his chest. He got to the top. He was sweating. His inhaler never came with him. And he's now, since he's come back from the Venture program, he's now changed his job. He's now got out of the relationship that was causing him strife. He's now gone to the gym and joined the gym. He's going there 3 times a week. He genuinely is the biggest and best transformation case that we've got at the Venture program. And he comes to every single alumni event afterwards. He really is integral to the ethos and the mentality of what we're trying to do with Venture.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. That's so cool. What have we got here? One more question. Let me think about what else would be relevant. Is there anything else, like before we wrap up and open up to Q&A, is there anything else that you think that you'd like to say about the program, or shout out to the people on the call?
So what we're doing with this program, we've come back to Queensland really because obviously it's the home of the program. It's what we're all about. We're trying to feed a little bit something back into this community. So this isn't really as previously engineered as some of the programs, in the way that before we've just adopted tourism operators and we've gone, let's go and do a kayaking trip with X, Y, or Z. Let's go and do this mountain biking. This is very much a bespoke program that we have created from scratch. So we've been able to tailor every single aspect of this one, from the people that we're getting there to the physical activities we're doing to where we're going to be staying every night. And it really is as uniquely crafted as you're ever going to get for a venture program. I'm excited to be coming up to an area of the country. I've got into Woodgill up the Bloomfield track, and I've driven there, but I've never gone up the Creb track. So this is all brand new to me. And looking at some of the imagery that I've seen from the guys that cycled it 2 days ago, we're up for a real treat when we get up there. Some of the places we're going to, some of the things we're going to go and do, some of the elders that we're lucky enough to be going to see in this part of the world have really given us a blessing and said, look, we want to learn from you guys as much as you can learn from us. So we're going to be getting together and having a couple of yarns with the community about opportunities that they want to do. They've got an amazing mesh network up there for their whole of the town, but they want to learn from us about how they can become entrepreneurs and what we can teach them. So it's going to be very much a reciprocating relationship that we develop once we're up there. Very, very unique to what we've done in the past.
That's awesome. I've spent a little bit of time up in Woodgill, and they very much are about the bummer and Wable way, the indigenous and the white fella way, the black and the white connection. So cool. So let's throw to Q&A. That's awesome, man. I'm really pumped. I think it's gonna be life changing. A few questions here. Let's jump in. So James has said, I've only come across the Adventure program recently. Don't know a whole lot about it. Is it a mountain bike trip or a hike?
There's a little bit of everything in there. So I initially scoped this as we were going to try and paddle up the coast to Woodgill, but I've been warned off by numerous ex-tourism operators that there are too many big snappy things in the water in that part of the world to make it a viable option. So we decided to err on the side of caution with this one. We've come inland. There are going to be 2 days of mountain biking, or 2.5 days of mountain biking. We are going to go and get up to a couple of summits as well. So it's really going to be about going and doing a lot of physical activities up there. And then the idea and the ethos of this one is we're going from the rainforest to the reef. We've got 2 World Heritage sites that are colliding here. It's David Attenborough's favourite part of the world, and for just reason, because it's green and verdant when we go through the rainforest, and it's obviously crystal clear and blue when we get out to the reef. So maybe I've let a little bit too much go there, but we're going to be certainly sampling everything that far North Queensland can throw at us.
Yeah, well, so not just, there's a bit of everything, and that's cool. And like, I'm not sure if James caught it before. It's really targeted towards entrepreneurs, and it's. Would you say it's designed to be transformational, or what? Is that fair enough to say? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And then that's what certainly a lot of people have got out of it. The connections and the opportunities and doorways that it's led to other people within the Queensland community. So we had an entrepreneur who was trying to develop a medical product, and we happened to have someone on the trip who'd been in that space before who could offer a whole Rotodec's worth of contacts to that person to open up doors for them. And yeah, I mean, we've got now one of the presenters that we had on Venture 1 and Venture 2, a gentleman called Rob Davidson, who runs a big recruitment firm down here in Brisbane. He has now become a personal mentor for 2 of those people that came on the program. They got on so well and connected so well that they now talk on a bi-monthly basis, and he really helps them develop their things. So there is this whole sort of different level of people that come with maybe not a vast amount of experience in the entrepreneur world, but a massive amount of energy, to the people that have been there and been successful and need inspiration and that kick from those younger people. So keeping that group of people as diverse as possible has been one of the secrets to a successful program, so that everybody at both ends of the spectrum can learn something. Cool.
All right, thanks for the question, James. That was really cool.
Thanks, James.
I got a question from Megan, and it prompted a loop in my head. It's that she's asking about deposits and so forth. I know we're doing this Q&A, but do you have any spots left for the program?
We have an upper limit of how many we can take, really, because of the size of some of the operations that we're doing. So sometimes it's restricted by the size of national park. Sometimes it's just by the capacity to carry people around and do things. So we really try and set an upper limit of 15 people for these programs. That's really the manageable size for the group. Any more than that, and it becomes almost too much of a gaggle to transport around. So we've got officially we have 3 spaces left. We have one person that's really on the line of whether they're going to come or not. So I'd say there's potentially 2 spaces left for this one. And the good thing is, because we're broadcasting, this one really is going up to the north of Queensland. It doesn't mean there's really a closing date for applications until about a week before, and our departure date is August the 27th. So really the 20th of August, which is now 12 days away, is when we can close off applications. But if people come in and they decide they want to be part of it and can get their application forms in and their payments paid, that will certainly lock in a space for this program.
And there's only 2 spots left.
There are about 2, maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Okay. And is it a matter of paying deposit? You got to pay the full amount?
Ideally, we'd like the full amount. So in the past, and I was told to stick at this price. We've had a price per person is $5,000 for the week. We've brought that right down because I've got some great relationships with tourism operators here in Queensland that really have brought things down for us, and we don't have to travel nearly as far. So we've brought this cost down to $3,800 for anybody statewide that is coming. That includes the flights from Brisbane up to Cairns. But if you're coming from the region, you can lop off another $400 straight away on that, because obviously you don't need to do that. You can get yourself to the start line. So it's $3,400, including everything, every single meal, every bit of accommodation, our 2 amazing speakers, the workshopping, all activities. And the only thing you need to bring with you is a sleeping bag, a pillow, and a sense of adventure.
Yeah, wow, cool. Margaret's asked about travel insurance for the trip. Is that something people need to cover individually? And if so, could you recommend anyone?
Yeah, I mean, travel insurance is one of those things. When you undertake any adventurous activity like we're going to be doing here, it's always a good idea to cover yourself just in case. I mean, the standard thing is any operator that we go with has got their usual public liability insurance on there, but you'll have to sign a disclaimer. And virtually every disclaimer, certainly ones that we operate, require you to have a domestic cover travel insurance. Cover more as someone that do a really good all-encompassing deal. It works out about $60 for the entire week to cover everything that we do from a domestic perspective. So it's well worth having that, just in case it pours down with rain, you've got your phone or your camera out there, it floods, just simple stuff like that. Or you come off your bike and you roll your ankle or something, you need to get out of there. So there's a couple of things, a couple of big reasons why. I certainly will have it. I have an annual policy anyway, but it's certainly worth having that extra cover.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that questions, Megan and Margaret. James has asked a follow-up question. Is the course designed to help personal growth solely through the physical achievement?
The physical achievement is the engine that gets people broken down a little way amongst the group. If we were all to go out and do a cocktail night every single night and chat and chat and chat, you get to sort of this level of networking, you get to that depth. But when you all get broken down to the same level and you know, there's no makeup and there's no high heels and there's no smart shoes and ties, and it's just about people in the raw, going through a bit of a gritty experience together, you get through that whole thing. It's almost like rocking up to a fancy dress party together. You instantly lose that hierarchy in the room. Everybody gets together and has a fun time. Wow. They enjoy it and they get broken down. So that's really why we're using adventure as the engine to get people networking. Yeah,
cool. Is there any other questions? I think we're pretty much running out of time. We've got time for probably one more question. Let me see what else we got here. So just confirming, so the 27th of August?
27th of August, yeah. So our plane arrives in Cairns at 9:30 in the morning on the 27th of August, where we kick off. We've got a fairly hectic, busy day the first day, and it doesn't get any slower than that for the next 2 or 3. It's only when we get to Woodgil itself that we take our foot off the pedal, quite literally. And then we have an afternoon of really getting to know the community up there, and then 2 full days from there. And our final day, the big day, is the one you don't want to miss out on, which is the Sunday. So that's Sunday, the 2nd of September. It's going to be an early start in Woodgil because we're going to make our way down the coast from there, getting back towards Cairns. We're obviously going to do a few different things on the way down, but our flights will leave when we head out of Cairns back down to Brisbane. We're on a 7:55 departure, so it's the full day on the Sunday, and then you get a chance to go home, wash your clothes, wrap up, get ready, and go back to work, energized, revitalized, new connections, a new source of motivation behind you to get on with your Monday and start the week in a different way.
Cool. And
I think we will definitely have a bit of James Bond. We'll definitely have a bit of David Attenborough. We're definitely going to have a bit of the Red Bull. Oh, there's a real wow factor that we've just tied in 2 days ago with an organisation that's actually based up in Cairns. I won't give you any more information, but when I was doing Best Job in the World, I had an experience on the Great Barrier Reef like no one has ever had before, and we're going to be recreating that somewhere out there. I won't give any more away than that.
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing, man.
So yeah, absolutely fine. So yeah, applications. If anyone wants to apply or find out any more details, Troy, are we going to share your email and my email address so they can get in touch, and then obviously I'll get back to them as soon as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with your contact details. What are your contact details, please, Ben?
Can we pick them up there? Are you going to put them on the screen? So it's ben@bestlifeadventures.com. Best Life Adventures, all one word. So ben@bestlifeadventures.com is the easiest way to get me on email. If you want to find out any more about it, you can go to the website of the Office of the Chief Entrepreneur, and on there you'll find under the Programs tab all about the Venturer program. You click into this one, Venturer 4, and you can find all the application details there, or I can ping them across to people once we've got their emails.
Yeah, cool. Get in touch with me as part of the registration. For the people that are on the call, they've got our contact details, and we've got theirs. So we'll send out the information. Would have been a great idea to have them on the slides, mate, but I didn't do that.
That's right. And if anyone's on the fence at all, if anybody is just thinking, oh, should I, should not, am I fit enough? Do I have the money? Why would it be good for me? Genuinely, I am there to answer any questions. So pick up the phone, email me, do whatever you need to do, get in touch, and we'll get you across the line with it.
Cool. Is there any final questions before we sign off for the night? I will send out a follow-up email to everybody. Actually, I think there's one more question. It'd been a question about payment plans, Ben.
I'm sure I can, James. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, send me a message. Get in touch with me. Let's work out what we can do there. There's no problem with that, especially as we haven't got a secure flights. If you're coming from North Queensland, it makes life a lot easier. So just give me a shout, James, via Troy or my email, and we'll work something out for you.
He's in Cairns, yeah.
Perfect. Too easy is what I think you say in Australia.
Yeah, we definitely do say that. Too easy, camp easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy is that's Peter Rabbit.
English. That's very English, that one.
It's Peter Rabbit's an English TV show. That's an awesome show. That's one of the things the Brits go right. That's one of my best.
There'll be no TV. There'll be no mobile phones. There'll be no internet where we're going. So we can erase that one straight away and make up our own phrases for the week.
I heard people talking about beers in the afternoons after a hard day's work. Is that true?
It's very difficult to do that in a dry community. We certainly will have the chance whilst we are. Let's put it this way: the last day is going to be a really good celebration. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, cool. Very good.
Grand. Well, thank you. Honestly, everybody that's come along, thank you so much for your time in doing this. Give me a call, send me an email. Let's get some questions answered, and let's get you signed up. 2 places, 2.5, maybe 3 places to go.
Legend. I'm super pumped. It's going to be life-changing, no doubt. And one of those things that you look back on and go, wow, I'm glad I did that. You know how you have some animosity leading up to certain things, and then you pull the trigger on it, and then you do it. You go, wow, what if I didn't do that? That my life would be so much different now. I'm so glad I did it. So
you're a good spokesperson already, Troy, and we haven't even got you through the course yet. So wonderful.
I've done stuff like this before, and I know what it's like. So not like this, but I know taking this leap of faith and just
press the button and say yes. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly it, man. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your evening. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the week, people. And I'm off into the wilderness at the weekend. So have fun, and I'll be in touch over email.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Bye. Not all.